Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ruchika Pal. Myself, I am a sports physiotherapist. I am working as an assistant professor in a Suresh Ganvihar University, and here I am explaining you about the osteoarthritis. First, we will discuss about the learning objectives. So, what are the learning objectives of the classes? Of the online classes, we can say that. So, it is the enhance of the quality of learning and teaching. We have to enhance the quality of the learning of the topic to the students, and we have to enhance the teaching experience. Now, what we can go for that, we have to meet the learning style or the needs of the students. Now, how we can explain, how we can maintain the learning style, we need to meet the learning style and the need of the students also. Now, improve the efficiency and effectiveness. So, what the topic is when the topics, we have to improve the efficiency of the students to learn the topic and the effectiveness of the teaching also. Now, improve user accessibility and time flexibility to engage learners in the learning process. How we can go for that? User accessibility means the time that this maintain time flexibility, we have to improve the user accessibility, that the user or the person who is taking the classes or the students who is engaging in these classes, we have it can assess the quality product, or it can assess that quality teaching, or we have to engage learners in the learning process. So this is about the learning objectives which we have to follow in the topic. Now, what topic I will teach you in this class? I will teach you about the osteoarthritis. So the next one is the osteoarthritis. The learning objective for the osteoarthritis, that when you got to learn about the osteoarthritis, you will able to answer the questions, you will able to answer the other things, and you will got to know about the how the osteoarthritis is affecting the patient. So the next is the osteoarthritis. Here the word is the osteo. The osteo word is related to the bone. Okay, and the arth word is related to the joint. And itis is related to the inflammation. So this is about the osteoarthritis. It is the most common form of degenerative joint disease. It is characterized by the degeneration of the cartilage and hypertrophy of the bone at the articular margins. What happened in the most common form of the degenerative joint disease? Degenerative joint disease. The degenerative disease is refers to that condition in which it is related to the age conditions. Means if the age is progressing or the person is aging, it will easily to approach disease, or you can say we can easily see this disease in the most commonly in the elderly patients. So it is the degenerative joint disease. Degeneration occurs at the particular age. It is a joint disease. Mostly the joints are affected. It is characterized by the degeneration of the cartilage and hypertrophy of bone at the articular margin. What happened in the degeneration of the cartilage? The joint which is present in the cartilage which is present in the joint, it is in the degeneration conditions, means the strength of the cartilage becomes reduced, and hypertrophy of bone at the articular margins, means where the articular margins are present, where the articulation of the joint have started, where the two bones are articulated to form a joints, where hypertrophy of bone occurs. Hypertrophy means the margins or the area will become the thicker. So it is the most common form of degenerative joint disease, where the degeneration of the cartilage is also there and the hypertrophy of bone is also there in the articular margin. Now there are types. So there are types of the osteoarthritis. It is the primary osteoarthritis, where the common form, where no predisposing factors are present. It occurs in old age, mainly in the weight-bearing joints. So what are the weight-bearing joints? Where they are the weight-bearing joints is the knee joint is the most commonly you can say weight-bearing joints. Hip joint is also included in that. Ankle joint is also there. Shoulder joint is also there, where the our upper body part is also weighted over there. Now in generalized variety, the trapeziometacarpal joint of the thumb. and the distal interphalangeal joints of the fingers are also affected. Now, what happened in the trapeziometacarpal joint of the thumb? Okay, so in this also primary osteoarthritis symptoms, we can also see that in the joint, and the distal interphalangeal joint, distal DIP joint, distal interphalangeal joint of the fingers are also affected. So in primary osteoarthritis, you can get which joints? Knee joints, hip joint, ankle joint. You can see trapeziometacarpophalangeal joint of the thumb, and the distal interphalangeal joint of the fingers are also affected. Now, secondary osteoarthritis. It is very less common arthritis, which we can see that there are an underlying primary disease of the joint which leads to the degeneration of the joint occurs commonly at hip joint. So underlying primary disease of the joint which leads to the degeneration of the joint. Now it occurs commonly at hip joint. Now you can easily see that the primary osteoarthritis occurs in the weight bearing joint. Hip joint is also a weight bearing joint, but whenever the osteoarthritis occurs in the hip joint, it occurs at the it is the secondary arthritis. This is again the degeneration of the joint. Now, predisposing factors. Yes, we have to check the predisposing factors of the osteoarthritis. Now, congenital maldevelopment of a joint. It is the congenital maldevelopment, congenital related to by birth. There is a maldevelopment of a joint means the joint is not well developed at the birth or before the birth, so that it leads to this is the predisposing factor also. Irregularity of the joint surface from previous trauma. Now, what happened in that? There is an irregularity of the joint surface. If the trauma occurs over there, then the joint surface got irregular in the shape, or due to the trauma, the joint space become distorted, or the joint surfaces become distorted. Previous diseases, if the patient is suffering from the previous diseases such as gout, septic arthritis, it leads to the osteoarthritis. In gout, there is an increase in the uric acid. In septic arthritis, there is the inflammation, or you can say infection is present in the joint. Metabolic disorder, hemochromatosis. Okay, hemochromatosis, what happened in that? It is the blood disorder. Okay, hyperparathyroidism, it is related to the thyroidism, thyroid gland. Neurological disorder, Tabes dorsalis. Yes, this is the neurological disorder, Tabes dorsalis. Now, obesity. Yes, the most common cause of you can say most common predisposing factor is the obesity. So, obesity can lead to the excessive weight on the weight bearing joints that leads to the osteoarthritis. Bow legs. Whenever you can see these bow legs in the elder patients or the obese patients or the obese females which have lack of calcium deposition, the legs become the bow, means this the knee joint will become this C shape, so that shows us the bow legs. Both knee joint can affect it. Most common joint to be affected is the knee. Second most common site for the osteoarthritis is the thumb, which we have discussed earlier, that the second most common site is the osteoarthritis is this thumb joint, and you can say the most commonly joint is affected is the knee. So we can explain about the clinical feature. Let me show you one diagram which we can see where we can see the effects of the osteoarthritis. So if we are comparing it from the normal joint, the osteoarthritis joints, you can see that the joint space is reduced. Now there is in normal joint, muscle is intact, your bony joint, your bone seems to be healthy, your synovial fluid is in the correct amount, your synovial membrane is intact, your joint capsule you can see it is in the correct shape, and the cartilages are in the proper alignment. Now what happened in the osteoarthritis? In osteoarthritis, this you can easily see that in osteoarthritis, Now you can see that the muscle is intact over here. The bursa is also present over here, there in the compartment, but you can see the bony changes in the osteoarthritis. The bone ends are rubbing together. The joint space which we can see earlier is got fused. Now the bone ends are touching each other. The cartilage which is present over the end of the bone is got reduced, or you can say it got thinned and it got crushed in between the bony ends. So this leads to the inflammation, and this causes the osteoarthritis. So in this osteoarthritic condition, the joint seems just like this. Now if we go for the symptoms, let me explain about the symptoms also. So clinical features, symptoms: insidious onset of the joint stiffness. Okay, now deep aching pain which worsens with the repetitive movement. Yes, insidious onset of joint stiffness. Now the joint stiffness is also present in the arthritis as well as in the osteoarthritis. Now deep aching pain. The patient will feel the pain is coming from the deep inside of the joint. Aching pain, usually the patient suffers from the aching pain, mean the always complaining of the pain, which worsens with the repetitive movement. Now it will become the worsen with the repetitive movement. Swelling of the, now the joint become swell up. Feeling of instability of joint and locking of the joint. Now it become unstable. The joint become the unstable and locking of the joint. As you have seen in the diagram that the joint space got reduced. If the joint space got reduced, then the movement will feel like that it is locked. Now the patient will feel unstable. If the joint if you feel the joint become locked, whenever the patient try to move, it will feel unstable. He will feel unstable that I will fall down. Swelling of the joint becomes swelled up that much that we cannot that we can see on the above surface of the joint. Now on examination, what we can see on examination, there is a tenderness on the joint line. Tenderness will be present on the joint line whenever you are touching the joint. Whenever you are applying some pressure on the joint line, you will feel the point is the tender, or the patient will feel the pain while you are applying little bit pressure on the joint line. So this is the tenderness on the joint line. Crepitus. Crepitus is the abnormal sound which occurs when you are moving or when the joint is in the moving condition. So it happens when the crepitus occurs on the moving of the joint. Irregular and enlarged joint. Now the joint become irregular in shape. Just we have explained earlier that the bow legs will be present. If the joint is in the aligned shape in normal condition, it will become in this shape, or it will become in this shape. So this is the irregular and enlarged joint. Joint deformity is present. The valgus and varus deformities are present over in the joint. The varus deformity is called the bow legs, and the valgus deformity leads to the knock knees. Now, restriction of the range of motion. There is a restriction of the range of motion in the knee joint. Wherever the joint got refused, you can see the bony ends are meeting together. So whenever the patient try to move, it is restricting him to move, or you can say it is the patient will feel the restricted range of motion. Means the patient is unable to perform the properly range of motion in that particular joint. Joint effusion and swelling. What happened in the joint effusion and swelling? Joint effusion is that thing that the synovial fluid which is present in the joint, it got effusions. It got swollen up. The joint become the swelling up, and the joint synovial fluid got the spreading out of the joint. Swelling is present over there. Wasting of muscle. Yes. Wasting. How the wasting of the muscle is present over there? The patient is unable to move. The patient is in the restricted range of motion. While the patient is moved, the tenderness will be there. The pain will be there. The joint deformity will be there. Then the activity of the muscles leads to the the activity of the muscles will be in the hamper. So if the inactivity of the muscle will be there, then the muscle wasting will be, or muscle wasting will can be occur. Now investigation. What are the investigation that we have to follow to diagnose the osteoarthritis or to check out to evaluate the osteoarthritis? Now, X-ray of the affected joints. Now, X-ray of affected joint, whenever we are going for the X-ray of the affected joint, narrowing of the joint space due to loss of the cartilage. What in this condition? We have to follow the narrowing of the joint space. The joint space got refused, the joint space got diffused. Then due to loss of the cartilage, we have seen that the cartilage become the thickened, the cartilage become destroyed. So that leads to the narrowing of the joint space, and that is the showing in that X-ray of the joint. Osteosclerosis and bone cysts. Yes, there is osteosclerosis and the bone cysts are present. The bony prominence over here, or you can say over here in the knee joint at the edges, you can see that the cysts are formation over the bone. Osteophyte is I can say that if you see the spike like projections in the X-ray of a knee joint, you can say that there are the osteophytes who are present. So what investigation we can go for that in the osteoarthritic patient? CBC. So we will go for the complete blood count, because there is the changes in the complete blood count of the osteoarthritic patient. Hemoglobin percentage, we have to check that hemoglobin percentage. ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate will be increased because there is an inflammation in the body. C-reactive protein also we have to check that. Serum uric acid. Yes, we have to evaluate the serum uric acid, as we have discussed earlier, that whenever the gout will be there, the patient can suffer from the osteoarthritis in the later condition. Arthroscopy. Yes, arthroscopy is the one process in which we can say that it is a investigation procedure as well as the treatment procedure. So we are applying a small camera, or you can say small scope to the knee joint, and then the arthroscopy will be done. So in arthroscopy, what happened? It is a diagnostic procedure also, or you can say it is diagnostic procedure and the treatment procedure also, that we have to detect the problem and we have to remove that problem from via the arthroscopy if it is accessible by the arthroscope. Now, diagnosis. How we can diagnose that the patient is suffer from the osteoarthritis. The clinical feature plus the radiological findings. So we have mentioned the clinical features over there and the radiological findings also there. So what are the methods of the treatment? It is in the supportive treatment. So what we can go for the supportive treatment? Weight reduction in an obese patient. Yes, obesity is the most common cause of the rheumatoid osteoarthritis. A weight reduction in an obese patient. Avoidance of stress and strain to the affected joint. We have to avoid the stress and strain to the affected joint. Local heat provides relief of pain and stiffness. Now what happened? It provides local heat. When we are applying the heating modality, or when we are applying the heating pad to the affected joints, it relief of the pain and stiffness, as the blood vasodilation will be there and the blood flow will be there to improve the circulation and to improve the fighting mechanism of the WBC. Exercises. Yes, osteoarthritis is the common condition in which we have to build up our muscles. We have to exercises to build up the muscles and controlling the joint, help in providing the stability of the joint. So in physiotherapy, you will see the osteoarthritic patients, many more osteoarthritic patients at different level. So we have to go for the different exercises. We have to go for the quadriceps isometric exercises. We have go for the hamstring isometric exercises. We have to strengthen up the muscles. We have to stretch the muscles up. Patient can bear that, and we have to go for other vastus medialis oblique strengthening exercises. Knee rehabilitation includes all these exercises to build up the muscles and controlling the joint. So what drug therapy we can give? So it is about the analgesics, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. It is about the chondroprotective agents, glucosamine and chondroitin sulfate. And it is the viscosupplementation, that is sodium hyaluronate. So these are the drug therapy. Surgical treatment, osteotomy, joint debridement, joint replacement, arthroscopy, removal of the loose bodies. So these are the surgical treatment which we can go for the osteoarthritic patient. Osteotomy is the cutting of the bone, or you can say we can cut out that part of the bone which is affecting the mostly the knee joint and affecting the range of motion. Joint debridement. Joint debridement is the removal of the excessive substance which are present over the joint or surrounding the joints. We have to go for the joint debridement. Now, joint replacement. It is very much commonly procedures which is going on in India right now. So joint replacement is there. Joint replacements leads to the complete replacement of the knee joint, and completely we can go for we can remove the joint. And an artificial implant is placed over the knee, over that knee joint, and it leads to the successful movement of the knee joint. After that joint replacement, the patient has undergone through the physiotherapy for the better rehabilitation or for the better muscle re-education, or you can say muscle strengthening also. Arthroscopic removal of loose bodies. As I have already mentioned in the previous session, or you can say previous slides, arthroscopic removal of loose bodies will be there. Then the arthroscopy is the diagnostic and as well as the treatment part of the treatment procedure also. So we can remove the loose bodies through the arthroscopy. Osteoarthritis, we have discussed about the osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis also. Now, how we compare the osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis? So, degenerative disease of the joint. This is the degenerative disease of the joint, but rheumatoid arthritis is not the degenerative. It is the non-suppurative inflammatory disease of the joint. Means you can see you can see over the degenerative condition in which when the old patient get osteoarthritis, but in rheumatoid arthritis there is it is not usually occurs in the old patient. It is usually occur up to from the age of the 20 to 40. Okay, it is the elderly age. It is the middle age. Now, degeneration of the articular cartilage. Yes, if the articular cartilage got destroyed or degenerated, then the osteoarthritis occurs. But in rheumatoid arthritis, there is the proliferation of the synovial membrane. Because in rheumatoid arthritis, there is the pathology which involved in the proliferation of the synovial membrane. Weight-bearing joints, knee, hips and spine mainly involved. Okay, it is asymmetrical. It doesn't involve the symmetrical involvement of the weight osteoarthritis. Means if then one knee joint is affected, that doesn't mean that other joint will be affected, or other joint will get the osteoarthritis condition. But in rheumatoid arthritis, small hand joints are involved and they are the symmetrical condition. Systemic features absent. There are systemic features which are in the, you can say, in the clinical features are absent in the osteoarthritis, but systemic features are present in the rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid nodules negative. When we check out that when we go for the sign and symptoms, or we will clinically observe the patient of the rheumatoid osteoarthritis, we will not find the rheumatoid nodules. Rheumatoid nodules are present in the rheumatoid arthritis. Worsen on movement. Yes. On osteoarthritis, when you are moving your joint again and again, it will create a painful situation for the joint and for the person, and it improves on the movement. When I have taught you about the rheumatoid arthritis, I have told you that the morning stiffness is present up to the 1 hour. So when we are going for the further movement of the joint, it improves on the movement. ESR. in erythrocyte sedimentation rate and hemoglobin is normal. ESR is raised because its pathology is different. Hemoglobin got decreased in the rheumatoid arthritic patient. No role of steroid therapy and no use of the gold and cytotoxic agent. But in rheumatoid arthritis, role of steroid therapy and use of gold and cytotoxic agent will be there to improve the condition of the rheumatoid arthritis. Now we will go for we have discussed about the you can say about the rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis both. Now I will show you some questions related to both conditions, or you can say we have to relate the questions to multiple choice questions for the topic which we have studied. So here we have mentioned that it is about the characteristic features is about the osteoarthritis is that it usually affects the same joints on the both hand of the side. No, it is the characteristic features of the rheumatoid arthritis. In osteoarthritis, it is not necessary about that the person is affected symmetrically. Now, what happens in the osteoarthritis? Osteoarthritis get worsen over time. Yes, it can get worsen over time because it is a degenerative condition, and the patient is already suffer from other conditions also, and the patient immunity power is not that much strong. So it leads to that osteoarthritis or can always get worse over the time. Now, osteoarthritis is an autoimmune disease. Yes, we can say that osteoarthritis is sorry, I'm so sorry. Osteoarthritis is not an autoimmune disease, it is a degenerative disease. Now, osteoarthritis is 2 to 3 times more common in women than men. It is not profoundly suggested that woman is much more affected than men. If the man is obese, if the person is not healthy, that the person will, if the person got age enough, that person is affected more than. It is not a sex oriented disease that it will affect women more than the men. Having osteoarthritis may risk for osteoporosis. Yes, it can explain. It can extend the osteoporosis because it leads to the osteoarthritis make the joints weaker, and you can say that it can be a risk for osteoporosis or it cannot be both of that, because systemic features are not available in the osteoarthritis, or you can say the other articular features are present but not the systemic features. Now the next is the specialist who treat the specialist who treat osteoarthritis is the endocrinologist. No, and the specialist who treat the osteoarthritis is not endocrinologist. Osteoarthritis may be difficult to diagnose when the symptoms first show up. Yes, it can be easily diagnosed when the symptoms first show up because it is a degenerative disease, and the old patient who are suffering from the pain and swelling, inflammation, that can be easily diagnosed because of the X-ray findings, and we can also mention the symptoms that osteoarthritis can easily be diagnosed with that. Eating certain foods can help ease OA symptoms. We can say that in both manner. Not that if we eat the good food, then osteoarthritis will vanish. But what happened in that eat certain foods will lead to the good health lifestyles, or you can say if the patient is obese, then we have to maintain the healthy diet so that the weight will not get increased over and over, and the weight bearing joints will bear the overall weight. Rheumatologists treat RA but not OA. So it is if we change this question about regarding this, the rheumatologist treats rheumatoid arthritis, not osteoarthritis, but the rheumatologist can suggest you the further physical examination and the investigation procedures to evaluate that you are not suffer from the rheumatoid arthritis, you are suffering from the only osteoarthritis. So it's all about osteoarthritis. First, we have discussed about that the rheumatoid arthritis, and second, we have discussed about the osteoarthritis. Now, if we will observe, if you can observe the degenerative changes and the other person, if you have the patient, or you will see the any patient that is affected from the joint pain and some pain, swelling, and inflammation, just evaluate that the person is suffering from the rheumatoid arthritis or the osteoarthritis. It is not necessary that the rheumatoid arthritis cannot affect the knee joint. Rheumatoid arthritis can also be affect the knee joint, but it is in the later stage, or if it is present in the knee joint, the symptoms are very much different. The patient is feeling pain, but not the sign or other sign of the inflammation. Like like swelling will be present over there, or like symptoms will not be present over there. So this is all about the osteoarthritis and the rheumatoid arthritis. If you want to ask any query regarding that rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, you can ask to me. My email ID is ruchika.pal@mygyanvihar.com. I have my YouTube channel also, that is the Abhigyanam. You can just see these videos on the YouTube channel also. And you can ask any query regarding this and drop a message on the comment box, so that we can go for the other topics also. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for listening to this topic. We will discuss few more topics of the a few more topics of the orthopedics in this session of the video session or video recording session of the Gyan Vihar University. And thank you so much for checking out this topic. So myself, Dr. Ruchika Pal, I'm here the ending the session, and this is my second topic of after the rheumatoid arthritis and the osteoarthritis. We will go for the another topics, and I will mention that in the in videos of the YouTube. Thank you so much. So after the multiple choice questions, we have to follow the conclusion also. So we have to count that what is the conclusion of the teaching, or what is the conclusion of the topic which I have discussed. So we have a brief conclusion about that. The conclusion in which we studied about the topic, that is, if we are comparing to the osteoarthritis and the rheumatoid arthritis or the polyarthritis. So what happened in that? So now, if we can conclude that the polyarthritis is commonly encountered in clinical settings, has multiple etiology. Now, first, what the things what you have to go for when you are going to the practice. So, what is the first step? The first step is to distinguish between true articular pain and non-articular pain or para-articular conditions by recognizing the clinical patterns through the history and physical examination. So once a pain within joint or in the multiple joints is confirmed, the next step is to classify the pain as non-inflammatory or inflammatory in origin. So this is the first step for the evaluation, or you can say we have to evaluate, or the child or the intern or the therapist has to evaluate that the polyarticular arthritis is concerned with the which conditions. So if the conditions occurs or just like in the normally related, which is to osteoarthritis, that is the pain, warm or swollen joint, morning stiffness is there, or it is aggravated by any activity or improving with the rest, or in rheumatoid arthritis, it is usually because of only of the morning stiffness up to the 1 hour relieving after the activity. So this is the suspicion for inflammatory arthritis should be confirmed by the appropriate serological tissues or imaging studies, or in the clinical settings, or in the consultation with the subspecialist. So if we talk about that, even a patient present with a pain in a multiple joints, the pain can originate from the joint. It can be true arthritis or the bursa, or from psychogenic metabolic factors such as depression or hypothyroidism. Once arthritis suspected, the physician should distinguish between the non-inflammatory and inflammatory forms of arthritis while recognizing potentially disabling the life-threatening problems. So this is about I'm talking about the polyarthritis, which I'm including the osteoarthritis, I'm including rheumatoid arthritis, I'm including other juvenile idiopathic arthritis also, and the other symptoms which are related to the arthritis, but they are the condition when we diagnose the condition or when we go for the investigation. This is not related to osteoarthritis, or you can say about the different rheumatoid arthritis, but the factors are depending on the different conditions also. So if I will tell you about this condition, then conclusion. So these are the key aspects we can say that, or I can say that there is a whenever you are going for the practice, there is a key recommendation for the practice, that how we will go for that. So this is about the joint swelling, erythema, prolonged morning stiffness, more than 1 hour will be present if it is present, and systemic pain even in rest are suggestive of inflammatory conditions. So this is related to your first key recommendation for the practice. We are going for these things. We will recommend all these things, or we will evaluate all these things, that joint erythema is present or not there, joint swelling is present or not there, prolonged morning stiffness is there or not, more than 1 hour it is present, systemic pain even at rest are suggestive of inflammatory conditions. So these are the conditions which you have to evaluate. Now, second thing is, non-inflammatory and inflammatory conditions can be differentiated with C-reactive protein and erythrocyte sedimentation rate results. So these are the laboratory investigations which we have to go through in the non-inflammatory and inflammatory conditions, whatever you are seeing in the patients. So there are the reactions which you have to follow in that. However, in the acute phase, erythrocyte sedimentation rate is less reliable than the C-reactive. As such, if we compare that, because ESR or these conditions in which the erythrocyte sedimentation rate is evaluating, we always find out that the ESR is always increased in a little bit of the infection conditions or a little bit in a fever conditions. So that is why we are not relying on the ESR rate. We have to compare it with the C-reactive protein test. Now, in the diagnosis of a gout, a high serum uric acid level has a little diagnostic value. So what happened? Now we are comparing to the other conditions also. This gout is also an inflammatory condition, and as comparatively to the osteoarthritis and the rheumatoid arthritis, in this condition, a laboratory investigation is there. A high serum uric acid level has a little diagnostic value. Now, in what happened in the gout, whenever we are going for the laboratory investigation of a gout, you will receive or you will get a report in which uric acid level is increased. So the standard of diagnosis is the presence of intracellular monosodium urate crystal of the polarized microscopy. So this is the basic criteria to diagnose the gout. A laboratory investigation report will determine that the high serum uric acid can lead to the gout also. If we talk about now osteoarthritis, it is a non-inflammatory, is typically polyarticular and often involves the spine and weight-bearing joints such as hip and knees. So this is a non-osteoarthritis is a non-inflammatory. Typically, we can say that a polyarticular and often involves the spine and weight-bearing joints such as in the hip and knee. So these all are related to about that. What are the key recommendations we can go for the practice. Now, if we talk about that, if we talk about the polyarthritis, or if we talk about this gout and osteoarthritis, then what is the patient history, or what is the conditions we can go for that? Sometimes conditions with polyarthritis are often accompanied by synovitis. So these are synovitis is the inflammation of the synovial membrane. So on the other hand, condition that causes pain outside of the joint are considered when there is no apparent joint inflammation. Nearly 50% of patients or you can say whenever you are evaluating or when you are testing, when you are examining the patient, nearly 50% of the patient with polyarticular pain will have unclassifiable conditions. These conditions may not need any medications and may medications worsen and may go to the remission within 1 year. So sometimes or however the patients with unclassifiable conditions may benefit from the medications for the symptomatic relief. Now this is about, you can say I can conclude about these things. So going for these things, so sometimes the pattern of joint involvement is profiling by assessing symmetry and number and type of joint involved. As such, when we are comparing to the osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis, what happened in there, in osteoarthritis there is no symmetrical joint involvement, or there is no specific pattern that if one knee joint is involved, then other knee joint will also be involved. But in the rheumatoid arthritis, if one wrist is, it is a symmetric pattern of involvement. So one wrist is involved. If one wrist or one joint of the hand is involved, then the other joint is also involved. So in the first step in the diagnosis is to determine the onset and timing of the symptoms. So acute symptoms last from 4 hours to weeks, on whereas symptoms are considered from chronic after 2 weeks. The pattern of chronic symptoms should be classified as intermittent or constant, fluctuating from mild, moderate, or severe to help identify the behavior of the inflammatory processes, possible triggers, and concurrent problems. And if we are talking about the possible conditions, are classified based on the number of joints affected. Quasi-articular pattern, 2 to 4 joints, versus polyarticular pattern, 5 or more joints. Spondyloarthropathies are classified quasi-articular, where rheumatoid arthritis is usually polyarticular. So spondyloarthropathies such as psoriatic arthritis may also present in a polyarticular manner, whereas rheumatoid arthritis may initially affect just a few joints. So it also depends on the patient to patient also. It also depends on the patient's history also, medical history and other things. So if we are concluding about the differential diagnosis or the patient or we are observing the patient, then the other things are that the osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, ankylosing spondylitis, gout, or these all are related, depend upon the condition of the patient and condition of the condition of the systemic involvement, which is included in the, you can say, your diagnostic pattern. So this is all about your conclusion. So my further videos will include about all these conditions which we have discussed in this that we have discussed only the osteoarthritis and the rheumatoid arthritis. In my next videos, I will discuss about the gout. I will discuss about the juvenile arthritis. I will discuss about the fractures conditions also. I have already shared my 5 videos of the fractures. So that is you can go through those videos, and if you have any doubt, you can just message on the comment box and subscribe our channel on the Gyan Vihar University. So thank you so much. This is Dr. Ruchika Pal from Suresh Gyan Vihar University, working as an assistant professor in physiotherapy department, and I am a sports physiotherapist. Whatever the queries you want to ask about regarding this topic or any other topic, you can message in the comment box. Thank you so much.